Hello, Robert. Oh, hey, Joe. So, Robert, you got me uh, excited to talk about Christmas. Hey, Robert and the Bill Show. So, I'm in a bit of a different position right now. I have a reason for that. Um, and this might be the last time I go on for a little while because my parents are moving out of the state, and tomorrow the movers are coming to their house and packing them up. So they will be actually staying in this very room um, for the next 3 weeks or so. So I'm actually not sure what that will look like as far as me going on. But, you know, they're leaving the state, and I will be very happy to have them in my house for a few weeks, kind of get the rest out of them, or as much out of them as I can. Um, that sounds bad, not out of them, but enjoy them as much as I can um, before they are gone. So, head walk. So, I have been spending some time getting the room ready, although it was in better shape on Thanksgiving when we had everybody. Yeah, Bill. Uh, I mean, there are some pieces that might not be wonderful, but I mean, those are little irritations. Um, in fact, this room we built for my mother-in-law to move in with us. She lived with us for 2 years before she passed away. Uh, so we're kind of used to. We know what that entails. Um, yeah, and that she required more attention. So anyway, the first thing I was going to do really quickly, because I am a nut about Christmas. I love Christmas. And Robert Wallace. Um, okay, I was going to say something, but I know with you guys, if I say it you'll just run in a whole wrong direction with it. So, um, Robert Wallace um, inspired me to uh, to show you a little bit of Christmas at my house. Now, fair warning, I am. It might be a clinical. It might be a clinical diagnosis waiting to happen, and I'm okay with that. Um, but I love Christmas, and I love. Um, I don't know. I love being surrounded by Christmas. So anywhere that we can put Christmas, kind of looks like Christmas threw up inside my house. So I'll stop talking about it. And hey, great informer. I know, James. I'm just focusing on the fact that I am going to love having my parents here for the few weeks before they leave. So that's what I'm focusing on, not the loss of my woman cave. Because I do love my woman cave. Um, with Valens of Holly. Why do I love Christmas? That's a good question, Bill. Um, I mean, I could say obviously that it's Jesus' birth. Um, I mean, if you put aside the shopping Nazis, you know, um, I don't know. People tend to be more lovely. I don't know. I like giving to people, and Christmas is a great excuse, maybe, for that. I don't know. Um, though we didn't have a ton of like traditions when I was growing up. I was a military brat, so there were some things that were, um, I mean, different depending on where we were. We've created some traditions around here, and in the process, I've raised some Christmas psychos. So, um, so yeah. Anyway, I'll show you, and then we'll chat. All right. Let's see if I can. This is gonna be weird. All right, so that's a bad picture. I don't know if that's gonna get clear. I don't know if y'all can tell what that is. It's a very bright angel. Um, yeah, y'all can't tell what that is. Anyway, all right. So we get these little things from our Christmas tree farm guy, and then we always, um, after Thanksgiving, we switch out uh, the dishes and only use Christmas china. Goes through the dishwasher. I mean, I paid like $40 for them years ago, and they've lasted this whole time. So it's not a big deal. This is all for us. This is all new because my parents are leaving. We inherited quite a bit of furniture, so a new dining table and all that. So we're kind of, so we've got that. And then the tree is kind of a funny story every year. And we've got the Christmas village. I don't know if you can see the Christmas village. Anyway, and then we've got, no, okay, hold on. Let me see if I can do this. Okay, I'm sorry for making you sick. Okay, it's dark in here right now, but we have a big old wreath right there, which really, I just need to add, I need to add lights to that. But this is Christmas. Oh, and my home that I love so much. My son, because my son does all the outdoor decorating, and so he wraps my column for me. Oops. All right. Hold on a second. Let me get into position. Don't look. I don't want y'all getting sick. Whoa. Okay. I did something to my light. Okay. Well, I guess I'm going to be without the light tonight because I'm not going to crawl on backwards to get to it. So anyway, that's Christmas. What can't you delete, Bill? Okay, yes. Great Informer. I do need to get on Parler. I was thinking about that and I couldn't remember the name of it, and I didn't. Um, I was thinking about going back through, a 3-hour video, and I thought, yeah, that might not be real productive. So um, now that you've reminded me, I will get on that. Thank you. All right. So what did Bill do? Okay, I'm not sure what comment you're trying to delete. Um, okay, well, that's fair enough. I'll take your diagnosis, Robert. Thanks. Thank you. Like I said, my parents are going to be coming tomorrow night. Sorry, tomorrow sometime, and we'll be staying here. So, in this room. So I may not be able to get on live um, for a while, but yeah, I love lights too. I don't know, Bill. Going back to your question, I don't know. I just I don't know. I just feel all warm and cozy at Christmas time, if that makes sense. And my kids are older now, but of course, when they're younger, um, there's just an excitement in them, um, and it's fun to be doing all of those. Yeah, actually, Robert, I actually was thinking about that. There's actually a couple of things, Christmas things in here, that I just need to kind of pull out. But you're right. There's some extra stuff. I did get them a couple of stockings today, so that they would have stockings, uh, because it'll be the first time they've actually, they've spent Christmas Eve or whatever with us, and then sometimes they've come back Christmas Day, but to be waking up with us on Christmas, which is kind of cool because my kids, for years, wanted them to, stay the night and wake up on Christmas morning with us, um, though there wasn't really a place for them at that time. And so, um, now, even though my kids are older, um, they'll get to um, have grandma and grandpa here, uh, waking up with us on Christmas morning. Um, Grandma and grandpa will get to um, join us for the cinnamon rolls that we have every year, which we used to always do, when I was in charge. We used to always do just the like Pillsbury can cinnamon rolls, pop and pop them into the oven. But my daughter's in charge of that now, and she makes real cinnamon rolls from scratch. And so she will make those, and we have eggs and stuff, um, baked eggs for some, but um, so that'll be fun. And my parents, um, I got them some gold and silver for, I mean, very little, little gold. um, an oversized stock. um, and so I don't know if you guys did see that though. I do have this massive stocking that's on the table out there, the coffee table. But anyway, um, yeah, so that'll be fun. I'm doing a lot of silver. I mean, my parents are the only ones getting gold, but that's I'm doing a lot of silver this year for gifts because I just have come to realize that I'd rather be giving gifts that will be long lasting, will kind of mean something or be valuable uh, um, as we move forward. Oh, yes, I did get them an oversized sock. Yes, so they would feel part of our Christmas morning with us and our oversized socks. So, yes, we now have a bunch of socks, oversized socks, hanging on the around the fireplace. So anyway, yes, love Christmas. Christmas brings out the best in all of us, I think. Yeah, I think so. I mean, granted, you do have some of those crazy, um, you know, crazy shopping stories and all that kind of stuff. Um, but in general, and there's a lot more people, and even the grocery store, you can't go to the grocery store. Um, oh, Merry Christmas, Wookiee supremacy. And you have a good night as well. Sleep well. Thank you for coming. Um, oh yeah. So yeah, there's a lot more people, even the grocery stores, you can't get around um, all the people that are there. But definitely, yeah, avoid the baking aisle. That's right. We start, oh my goodness, we got a, whatever those massive, like 25-pound bag um, of flour. I think we got a big old bag of sugar too at Costco a little bit ago um, because my girl was going to be baking. So, um, yeah, Joe, it's true. It can be brutal to be in the stores at this time. And I mean, I've done a lot of online shopping. Like I said, though, a lot. I've done, gold and silver. So I did a lot of online shopping that way. But yeah, I've done a lot of online shopping. I love Costco too. So yeah, it's the problem with Costco is you can't get out of there without, a hefty bill. Uh, Total, not bill like as in the bill show. um, hey, so I don't know if Red Pill Marine is here, but did see him mention that his he might be able to go to Qatar with his son, or that son might be able to bring him over there, which is awesome. I know that he misses his boy, so that would be cool. I think. And for those who don't follow him on Twitter, you should because um, he's very active on Twitter. So um, yes, and Great Informer is obviously everywhere. I don't know how you're in as many places as you are, but um, he's everywhere and has introduced me to a lot of uh, new patriots, new to me, I should say. So that's awesome. Okay, so I'm not going to be on long because um, I didn't have a whole lot to say. I just wanted to um, make sure I was. Oh, Bill, yes. Good night. You were very tired. Love you. Sleep well. Um, but if you, uh, oh, I lost my train of thought. I was going to, if anyone wants to, you are more than welcome um, to hop on and share any thoughts that you have. Um, because I realized that I had not done that in a little while. I had not opened it up to anybody hopping in and saying hello and chatting. So I might be tired, and that's totally fine, but I just realized that I had not done that in a while, and I wanted to um, make that available to people. So, anyway, uh, does anyone have any big plans? Yes, sir. Robert, you have a good night's sleep. I'll chat with you later. Thanks for going on tonight. Love the shovel. Um, if anybody who watches this later does not follow Robert Wallace, or Front Yard Gardening with Robert Wallace, I should say, with the shovel. With the shovel. Okay. It's not part of his title, but anyway, he does play the shovel. It's pretty cool. He does all sorts of other things as well. Also, Sandra Ann McGibbon has been on recently. This is really late for her, but she is S space A space MC Gibbon, Gibbon. Joe, love you. Sleep well. You should check her out as well. And then, of course, The Bill Show, I think I've mentioned before. And KK, who's not on here right now, K space K, sweet, sweet lady. Headless Horseman. Man, that guy can play some guitar. I think he can do other stuff too. I think he's one of those that has a lot of musical talent. But he has shown us some pretty cool guitar. So, and James Rohrbach has some cool videos that he's uploaded that are, well, there are a variety of things, but he does have a lot of tree work kind of stuff, and you get to see big trees forward. That's my explanation. Nice, right? So anyway, yeah, I don't know if I will be on or on much, if at all, but or I guess so. Excuse me. I am going to take this opportunity to express my appreciation and my gratitude and my love for the patriots that I've gotten to meet this year and the friends that I've gained this year, and just a whole big family of patriots. Joe Ma and Dee and KK are some of the kindest. Hold on, Robert. I'll respond in a second. I've got to. I just read that in the middle of trying to be sweet here for a second, but these ladies are so welcoming and great sense of humor, great love. Different personalities, but all wonderful and very welcoming, like I said. And then the Roberts are awesome, both very welcoming, both have um, I don't know. I want to say these hidden. Um, Hello, common sense with Elizabeth. Yes, I am, and I'm on Pacific, um, or Pacific time, and I I'm going on late even for me. So I appreciate you stopping by. Um, I've seen you around, so thank you. Um, so I was just expressing my uh, thoughts for my the friends I've made this year. The Roberts are both really amazing in um, I don't know, they have this hidden bank of knowledge, if that makes sense. Um, uh, I don't know. I'm still digging, and they add so much to my knowledge and my understanding of some things. And Robert Nozawa, I'm still waiting for him to um, get his mic situation worked out um, so that we can hear more from him as well. Um, but man, I learned so much from these these people. Um, Headless, oh my goodness, talk about hidden knowledge. That man has. It's true, Robert. Um, but that man has just this plethora of knowledge about things that he's never done professionally, and yet he still knows about them. It's like, oh, ask Headless, or if somebody, I, I know I've had a couple of things where I'm like, oh, I wonder how this thing works, or man, I'm struggling with this, and here comes Headless with all sorts of information and answers, and I love it. It's awesome. Um, Bill is of the Bill Show. Um, Man, patriot through and through, passionate about what we're doing, what we're fighting for. Um, he and I have um, are very similar in our interest in that, and so I kind of feed off of what he does and talks about, and um, I think we can feed off of each other in that regard. So that's very cool. Um, Red Pill Marine is not on here as often, but man, that man is passionate and he loves our country. And I love that. Um, I love that. And he is fighting and he wants to fight for us and for our country. And like I said, he's on Twitter. Man, that man is he is fighting on Twitter. Um, so anyway, I appreciate that. I got to hear him once on Bill's show, and um, he was passionate and entertaining, and just lays it all out. Um, you have no question of where he stands. So that's very awesome. Um, Let me see. I know James. I'm just checking on. Um, as far as this group that I have hung out with a lot, really well. Um, James, I actually knew before this year, but I can still be appreciative of him and uh, and his friendship, and he's another one that is fighting um, for us. And well, I mean, he red pilled me, right? So I've said that before. Um, and and I appreciate that. You know, I did not listen to him for a while. um, so I appreciate. Oh, Bill, I thought you'd gone to sleep. um, you're welcome, and thank you, Robert Nazawa. That's kind of you. Um, I think probably Tony Patriot because I hang out there a bit, so I'm betting that's where I was. Um, but yeah, so James, I have to give all sorts of props to and be so thankful that he was willing to continue um, to talk to me about truths and things that were going on in the world. Um, that he was kind of willing to shatter my happy, safe bubble. Thanks, James. um, but he's really the reason that I am here, and well, God's the reason I'm here, but you know what I mean. Um, the reason that um, well, and actually, he's the reason I met um, everybody else here because he introduced me to the Bill Show, where I met this wonderful group of people, and Great Informer. I found through our well, I mean, I guess Great Informer found us because he's amazing that way, and um, and through Great Informer, I've met a whole other group of patriots as well. So like Tony Patriot, who is awesome, another not just passionate about our country, but passionate about helping people and about I mean, he loves people in that way, if that makes sense. He really just a good guy who wants everybody to succeed and everybody, and that's, in this movement, every voice, um, every voice is needed and every voice matters because um, there are so many, there are so many blockades that we're up against, I guess, is what I would say. Um, so So it's very cool that he is willing to use his time, the little, very, very little bit of time that he has. It's very cool that he's willing to use his time to um, to help other patriots. And boy, Sandra Ann McGibbon, another one who is just a um, just a loving lady um, who believes in this movement and who wants to advance it and have everybody's voices heard. Um, just a loyal, beautiful lady who is, and she's great. Oh, hey, Headless. Um, yeah, I know we're on so late. I'm sorry, guys. I just wanted to take this opportunity when I had it. Um, so anyway, Sandra Ann or Sam is she's also informative. She shares information as well on her channel. So she's another good one. Good one. I messed that up. So anyway, oh guys, tell me if I'm missing anybody because I don't want to miss anyone. Um, some other ones I'm just getting to know kind of, although not totally. The Redneck Prepper, whose name is Tony, um, and Food Stamp, who can't manage to stay on Facebook, if I remember correctly, because he keeps getting banned, which means he must be doing something right. um, the hair. Oh, heavens. Robert. Um, Thank you, Robert. I didn't really, it's interesting because I didn't really have a plan um, when I started doing this. I just knew that there was so much suppression going on that I felt like I needed to um, add a voice. I just felt like maybe it would make it more difficult to suppress our voices. Um, oh, okay. So I think is it Lucretia Hughes? I've caught her show a couple of times. She's great. She's great. She's very. I mean, it's to me. I mean, it's a little bit like a news show. She's hitting the news. Um, Marnie Hockenberg. I've caught her a few times as well. She is. I mean, she's kind of gently getting in the face of people. She's not a harsh person. BCP, love Black Conservative Patriot. Um, he's so professional. He has a he has a finance background, which I love because I have a finance background as well. Um, so he speaks to some things that I'm like, oh, um, but um, I remember when oh my gosh. Okay, so one of my favorite shows from him was when he was replaying a clip from the Matt Whitaker um, testimony um, before which committee was it? I don't remember which committee it was. Um, oh man, that was funny. If you guys want to laugh, um, because BCP he got tickled over the way that Matt Whitaker was handling business. And he was, man, sharp as a tack, that man, knowing exactly what he he could say, knowing exactly what he didn't have to say, um, knowing exactly what he didn't need to answer, um, and fearless, bulldog. That man, awesome. Um, I have not seen Patricia Dixon or Anthony Brian Logan. Disabled Vets Perspective, I've caught a couple of times. Pete the Patriot, a lot of, oh my goodness. Yeah, there's a lot of great ones out there. I know I'm missing. DM the Mod, Damod, I should say, and History Bee and Ashley. They have a Saturday evening show. Red Pill 78 is awesome. Okay, so yeah. See, and then I get way behind on things when we have impeachment inquiry hearings and I have to watch, hours and hours of that besides doing hours of Latin with my daughter. Oh, Nadler, what are you saying? Oh, yeah, he shut Nadler down. Yes, it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. Um, the way that Whitaker, I mean, and he stayed professional. He stayed professional in his approach. But boy, did he like I mean, there were just those moments where you're like, oh, did he don't say that? But it was still professional. But man, yeah, just bulldog, just strong and um, mm, what's the word I'm looking for? Just kidding. Yeah, Whitaker was. Oh yeah, that's right. He did, Bill. I remember that. He said, "I believe your time has expired." And then, he did the same with, oh, what's her name? Oh, that crazy lady. What's the crazy lady's name, Bill? Oh, I can see her, and her name was on the tip of my tongue. She was getting so upset with him because well, I'm the one answering the questions here, um, and then, he was like, "Oh, I don't know. Is the time going? Is it, could you repeat that?" Oh, it was beautiful. It was masterful. He did a beautiful job. He did a beautiful job. Um, so impressive. I didn't know anything about him prior to that. Um, so yeah, see, this is what happens, right? I was going to talk a little bit about Christmas. Um, I thought I would shout out to my friends who have become so dear to me. And then here I am um, back at the circus, the Washington D.C. circus. Oh yeah. Um, yeah, that was actually not so sure that that was not on purpose, Bill, but we'll call it autocorrect. um, yes, okay. Um, yeah, she she was getting so upset with him. It was it was kind of priceless. Um, Man, good memories. I told my kids a while back. Um, well, I'll tell you. Okay, so I already told one of my one of you already in private text earlier. Um, with autocorrects, I once typed or meant to type, "I'm not fast enough" on something. I was replying to somebody about something, and it came out, "I'm not gay enough." And I was like, "Oh," and it was in a public chat. And I was like, I used to call myself the queen of, you know, autocorrect or swipos because I've had some doozies in my time, but they can be fun, you know. They're good for a good laugh. Um, okay, I was gonna say something. Oh, my kids. I've been telling them over the last 6 months or so, like, people think that, you know, watching C-SPAN or, watching um, happenings in the House and the Senate are just so, oh, that's boring. Why would you want to do that? Um, Good night, Bill. Love you. But boy, it is that's some entertaining stuff. And um, you you gain so much just because you are informed about what is actually happening, not necessarily the sound bites and the excuse me, sorry, and the clips that are being being uh, shown on in the media. The reality is it doesn't matter what media. It doesn't matter even if it's on here. The reality is there's only so much that you can see. You see the little clips um, for any show, but um, so it doesn't even matter the source. But if you watch the source, right? If you watch the original, um, then you get to see everything. You get the full story. and um, you get to make up your mind about what actually is happening or what people are doing. I get to make up my mind about um, what the witnesses are saying versus what it is that people are, that representatives are coming out and saying they're saying, right? Um, I get to make up my own mind about whether it's a fair process or not, whether, I get to watch rules being changed. I get to watch, um, Democrats shutting down Republicans for no reason, um, you know, not allowing them to speak or be heard at different times. Um, you know, that doesn't all come across on little 30-second clips or, um, you know, 2-3 minute clips, even. So I do appreciate that. So, Elizabeth, the way that works is if you look at your keyboard, um, G is right next to the F, and A is right next to the S, um, and then the Y is right next to the T. Um, so, if you're not careful, you'll be gay and not fast. um, yeah. So anyway, that's that's how that worked. I was on my phone and just swiping away and looked down and went, oh, no, no, no. Of course, it was too late. It was, um, we got to have fun laughing at me, which is great. I don't mind laughing at myself. um, hmm. I had something when I was younger. Maybe one of these days I'll tell you about that. I have to figure out how to tell that in a way that is that doesn't reveal too much. But anyway, I've got some doozies of some stupid things I've done, and I can't even blame them on autocorrect. So I'll give you a teaser on that one. As the time when I decided that I was going to pre-program my phone, phones have those like quick dial buttons. I was going to pre-program my phone for 911. It's back in the day when I um, didn't like to be home alone, as in like overnight and all that kind of stuff. Now, if I have an empty house, I'm like, whoa, the parents are gone, which, you know, I don't know why I am the parent and I'm like, woohoo, party time. Um, but anyway, so yeah, I pre-programmed it and then wanted to check and make sure that it worked well. That it worked. I programmed it correctly because it was a new phone. And so, of course, I dialed and then it rang. And so I hung up. Um, let's just say that um, the cops visited that night, and I'm a really heavy sleeper. Well, I used to be. That was prior to kids. I was a really heavy sleeper at the time. Um, and we'll leave that teaser at that. You watch the White House Channel, and C-SPAN just to see and hear it directly coming out of their mouths and not some talking head's opinion of it. Absolutely, Elizabeth, I'm with you. That's exactly why I do it. That's especially why I did it during the impeachment inquiry hearings. As much as I know it was a bunch of junk that was happening, right? Um, I wanted to be able to infuse truth um, into conversations about it. And But yeah, absolutely. It's the only way. I don't know. It's a little bit like the idea of reading the Constitution, right? You can listen to a lot of people talk about what is constitutional. You can listen to a lot of people talk about what the founders said or did or whatever. But you should go and study those things. You should study the Monroe Doctrine and understand um, the reason or the stance that we took on getting involved in foreign affairs in other countries' affairs. Um, watch how that changed, how we kind of violated that through the years to get to where we are now, that where Trump is trying to clean us up from, right? It's interesting because um, I've been studying the original documents more recently, been reading them, I should say. I don't know if I could fairly say that I've been studying them, but the as much as I felt like Trump was for our country and trying to get us back to where we should be, it's not until I was reading some of those documents and some of the more, I would say, the more obscure ones, right? Because of course you've got the Declaration of Independence, you've got the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, those kinds of things that people tend to focus on, which is absolutely great. I think they're great things to read and focus on. But there are things that are lesser known, like the Doctrine, um, and people don't read those kinds of things as much. And or like some of the inaugural addresses, or some of the addresses um, to Congress. Interesting stuff, and um, you get to see again what our policies were, why we why we were doing certain things, and then compare them to now, right? And and then figure out how did we get here. But then to know, some of the policies that Trump is coming in with, some of the kind of campaign promises that he ran on, some of the things that he is working on, is either has done or is doing, or working on, or whatever. um, it just makes me really feel like he understands those original documents, um, more than I realized he did. He understands our founding a little bit more than I realized he did, and is trying to reclaim some of that. So, so anyway, yeah, fun stuff. Absolutely, when you can get it from the source, and we talked about homeschooling the other night. That's one of the things um, that I, hey baby, um, that's one of the things that I, want for my kids, is to um, be able to learn, right? Not to necessarily go to the expert, right? The experts are the ones who are telling you what the documents say. The experts are the ones who are telling you what is happening politically. The experts are the ones who are um, explaining it to you. But the reality is, we don't need experts. We need to dig in, and we can find those answers, and we can study, and we can make determinations um, on our own. So it's fun stuff. Fun stuff. Um, I wish I had valued learning when I was younger as much as I value um, learning now and researching. And I mean, I did well in school, and it was not very difficult for me. Um, but I can't say that I was truly learning, if that makes sense. I did well with the system. I knew how to cram and dump, right? Cram some information for the tests, take the tests. I was, good at taking tests. I didn't have any of the test anxiety kind of stuff. And so dump the information, right? Cram it, keep it long enough to get to the test, dump the information and move on. And I didn't value, I didn't go further than I needed to, right? I could have learned so much more. I could have explored so much more. I could have dug, uh, just for the desire to know. That's it. I didn't have a huge desire to know, um, which I do now. I have a desire to know, um, more about it, or where it came from, or why it happened, or why we're here now. Okay, so Elizabeth, I worked in an office where you used to have to dial 9 before you hit someone's extension. One woman could never do it right when she was trying to dial extension. Oh no, 110 or higher, and would always call 911. That's awesome. I tried to retrain her with the phone system, and she would get indignant and say, "I'm not stupid." I would always think, "Clearly you are." Oh my goodness, it's true. And I will say, I mean, I look back on my, programming the phone for 911, and first of all, you have to know that, when I mean, I had to hit 3 buttons. It was, the on button, the the pre-programmed button, and then the button that was pre-programmed for that number, right? So I had to hit 3 buttons. Um, so dialing 911, what do you have to do? Turn it on, 911. So I was only saving myself 4 buttons anyway. I mean, sorry, 1 button anyway, right? I only had to dial, and 911. I mean, that's barely an extra button anyway, right? It's like a stutter on the same button. And so, number 1, what was I thinking? I have no idea. All I can say, my only defense is that, like I said, I did not like, um, staying by myself at that point. I was more nervous to stay by myself. Um, I was pretty young, and it was right before I fell asleep, which is actually why I got into the mess that I got into, because as soon as I hung up, I literally just passed out. And um and so all I can say is I was tired, I was nervous, I don't know, I was probably, you know, I might have been sleeping with a firearm arm next to me. I don't know what I was doing, but I yeah, I look back on that and go, wow, that was so stupid. um, yeah, Robert. I mean, I think a lot of people can say, oh, they wish when they were in school they, X, Y, and Z. They um, studied harder or whatever. But I guess for me, it's just that desire, and it's not just one thing. Absolutely, history absolutely is probably at the top of my list. Um, but now I just want to know it all. So I'm going to be learning for a long time to come. Um, and if I could just be a student, That'd be awesome. Um, Life isn't that way for me, so I don't have that ability. But if I could, um, there's this opportunity that I have to maybe get my master's, um, which I'd kind of love to do, especially the way that it would be done. But there's some hurdles that come with that. Um, so anyway, fun stuff. Just fun stuff. Oh, um, who is it? Is it? I'm gonna mess it up. Is it Liberty University that has? So I keep meaning to mention this as well. Let me look it up real quick to make sure I'm not completely missing my. Um, I wonder if I am. Maybe I'm getting the wrong one. Hang on. Oh, there it is. Oh, Hillsdale. Okay. All right. So if you haven't checked them out, um, Hillsdale College has um, these online courses. They're free online courses. They do ask, if you want to donate just to help them with the costs, but they are free. And so I've signed up for the first one for me. I've been meaning to do it for a while, but Constitution 101, the meaning and history of the Constitution. Um, and so let me see if I can um, show you this. Okay, Bill always does this really well. Let me see if it will focus here. Hang on. There we go. Well, it's going out. Okay, so point is that they offer these opportunities. And so this says about this course, the United States Constitution was designed to secure the natural rights proclaimed in the Declaration of Independence, signed by Constitutional Convention delegates on September 17th, 1787, Constitution Day. It was ratified by the American people and remains the most enduring and successful constitution in history. This course examines the political theory of the American founding and subsequent challenges to that theory throughout American history. Um, so they have this one. They also have some others, um, but they're phenomenal. They also have I'm going to call it a newsletter, but that's incorrect. It's like a pamphlet. You can go and sign up for free that they'll mail out to you as well. Anyway, that's what I am going to be doing over this next little bit too, is getting in, and they just email you the lectures weekly ish. Um, so fun stuff. Um, Many so-called experts misinterpret things a lot. I did a video on the truth about three-fifths compromise because people misinterpret what the Constitution says. It never said slaves were three-fifths of a person. My motto is learn something new every day, otherwise it's a wasted day. That sounds like my kind of class. I'll have to look into that. Constitution 101. I actually took a constitution class before in college. Yeah, and Hillsdale is that's one of their desires. So that's why they do this for free. And again, this is just one of the courses that they offer, and they offer that pamphlet, whatever it is, that they send out regularly as well for free. They just really have a heart of getting true understanding of our founding to
No battery, please charge.
Okay, sorry. That was my Bluetooth speaker.
No battery, please charge.
Hold on. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. That scared the snot out of me. Yeah, it's interesting. And we could even talk about the idea of women's right to vote and why they didn't have the right to vote. Because a lot of people look at that as was some sort of suppression of women, when in reality it was kind of a family-based unified approach. So women tended to go from their father's house to their husband's house. And yes, the husband voted, but the idea was that, he's voting for his family, right? That it wasn't because they didn't want to hear from women or they wanted to suppress women in some way, but this idea that you're a family unit and you're voting in that regard. So the idea is that husbands and wives were on the same page and they were a team and they were they were a family. So there's a little bit to that too. I mean, we could probably debate that, and y'all may disagree with me, and that's fine. But it's a different perspective, and it's an interesting. It's interesting to think about when you put it into that perspective. That it wasn't about women being less than. So anyway, very, very cool. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Robert, I did not mean to ignore the fact that you were shirtless yet again. That's because that's how you hang out. Which, okay, I was going to say, well, if I lived there, I would too, but that might be a little bit of a different story. Elizabeth says, I have read some great history books, Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard. Killing books are awesome. Killing Lincoln was fantastic, and so was Lincoln's Last Days that they wrote. I have always wanted to, but I have not read any of Bill O'Reilly's books yet. So I know he's been writing them for years, and I've wanted to for years, but haven't read any of his. I actually have right now. I have 3 books that I'm working on, and yes, I know. The Shirtless Mute. One is Love Thy Body by Nancy Pearcey. Pearcey? Pearcey. I used to know her name really well. I don't know why I'm struggling with it right now. Another one is a book that I was told to get by a friend of mine who is helping me through a application process. I'm applying for a promotion, kind of. I mean, it is a promotion, but at my workplace. And so there's a book that she told me I had to get. I had to start doing my homework, preparing for interviewing. So that's the one I'm actually kind of focusing on right now. And then, and then Protocol Matters. So for our kids, so I homeschool my kids, but I also once a week we homeschool in a group of families. There's like about 100 kids on campus, plus younger siblings and parents and all that. each week. And I lead a 6-hour class with 14, 15, 16-ish year olds, ninth-ish grade, although we don't refer to them in grades. But one of the things that we like to do is for our kind of 9th through 12th grades, again, I'm just using that terminology to make it more relatable. But one of the things that we believe is that we do not know what God has in store for the kids. And they could find themselves in all sorts of formal situations in the future that they never knew, or never thought that they would be in. And so we want to give them exposure to various situations that require a certain amount of protocol. And it's actually twofold. So one is that there's an actual event that we do where we'll have them, we'll take them to a symphony, or we'll take them to a ballet, or we'll take them, some sort of production event like that. And then, okay, you do that too, Elizabeth. I give myself Christmas gifts too. Like, okay, I know that this is what I want, so therefore, anyway, yeah, so we'll do an event of some sort that requires, is a little bit of a little formal, and then we'll do a formal dining situation, with multiple forks and multiple spoons and all that kind of stuff. And then we've done, for the last few years, we've also done either contra or swing dancing for the last few years. And we actually have a little bit of a we have a guy who comes and kind of teaches them for a little bit, and then they're on their own, for the rest of the evening. But so that's one piece of it. The other piece of the protocol part is just helping them in understanding, basic protocols. So if I know two people but they don't know each other, and we're at a gathering or whatever, teaching them how to introduce those two people to each other in a way that a common ground, right? So like this one, I know that my friend here is a tennis pro, and I know my friend over here just started taking tennis lessons. Okay, so I'm going to introduce them with those pieces, so that they automatically have some sort of common ground that they can have conversation about, at least to get things kicked off. Who you introduce first, and helping a lady out of the car, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so fun stuff. So that's the other thing, is that's second semester. I need to be preparing for that, so I have that book as well. So 3 books I'm working on right now. There's also Listening for Heaven's Sake, which is a relational book about I guess kind of being a good listener. So those are the books I'm currently on right now. Killing Crazy Horse, Killing Reagan, Killing Jesus, and I just got the SS and Hitler's. I didn't know that there was one on the SS and Hitler's Last Days. That's cool. I had heard of the other ones, but not that one. Sorry. No, that is very cool. Elizabeth, that's really cool. And I love hearing about that, because I have always heard about his books and thought, oh, that'd be so, so good, so interesting to read. But my reading list is always is always long and revolving. So there's a lot of stuff I don't get to. And I'm also kind of infamous for starting books and not actually finishing books. I have finished a few, but most I read a chunk of, um, but don't finish. Okay, sorry. All right. Oh, this is good stuff. Elizabeth, I'm so glad you joined the chat tonight. I'm learning all sorts of stuff. All right. Um, yeah, I'm trying to. Actually, I have a mixture of Kindle, well, books on Kindle, Audible books, um, and books. Sorry, books in the flesh. I love marking up books, especially ones that I'm not just reading, but kind of trying to study. And so, oh yes, he's in Hawaii. um, and so I know that you can do that with Kindle. It just to me isn't the same. But physical books take up so much space, um, and so I have to balance that out a little bit. And I can't always do what I need to do um, while reading a book, and so that's why I also have um, some on Audibles because I need to, be able to be doing the dishes and be able to be, um, doing whatever. Doing the dishes just seems like one thing. I don't actually do the dishes. Um, my kids do the dishes around here for the most part. So, but there are things, okay? I make meals. Okay, how about that? I do make meals. So, much easier to listen than to actually hold a book and read it while you're making meals. So, I had to find something that I do around here. So, anyway. All right. Yeah, I have a girlfriend who is she's probably clinical in regard to her love of books and the library sales. Woo, she's uh, she hits those hard as well. Um, oh, excuse me. Um, I haven't read that. I don't know. Um, it kind of sounds like a book about going through hard times or whatever. I did read a book years ago by a man, and I don't even remember what his name was, but he had lost his wife, and he was talking about the things that um, the things that the survivor kind of goes through after losing someone. And so he's the reason why I have a death file now. So if I die, go to the file folder that says death on it, and I have I name the pastor that I want to have speak at my memorial. I have the song choices. I have a basic idea of what I want him to say. Um, you know, I'm kind of a cremate me because it's cheaper, but I guess if you need something else, because you're going to be the ones that are still here, then do that. But anyway, the idea is that, and I now, with my in laws having passed, I now understand this. I've walked through this that loved ones want to make sure that they are every choice becomes about what would that person want? And you can get so caught up in wanting to do it just right, wanting to do what that person would want. That it can be really difficult and there's a ton of decisions that go into um, planning final arrangements. And so the more that this is what I learned from that book, the more that I can take off of the shoulders of those people who are left behind, the better. Hello, Johnny O. So that's why I have a death file, not to be, um, morbid about it, but I'm gonna die. So why not make it easier for those who I leave behind and take some of the choices out of, some of the decisions off of their plate. And again, I have been through, um, planning for final final arrangements, and it's so much work. And you're dealing with the emotions of losing the person, but you're also dealing with all of the stuff that has to happen, the to-do list, and it can be overwhelming. So anyway, little tip for the day: have a death file. Sounds so morbid, but it's true. So, um, okay, I'm gonna catch up a little bit. Robert said they have a bookshelf at their local post office where community members can share their books. Sorry. Leave one or take one or more. That's awesome. Bill O'Reilly did a book with a guy whose last name is Fierstein called Old School: Life in the Same Lane. It was very funny. The same guy who wrote the book in the 80s called Real Men Don't Eat Quiche. Real Men Don't Eat Quiche. That sounds like a funny book. In this country. Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. All right, so, okay, so it's interesting, right? We're on later and we're gaining viewers, which, y'all are up late. um, so yes, if you want to say hi, um, if you have anything that you want to chat about, you guys are, this is awesome. You guys are doing great. I'm loving the conversation. Um, we've gone so many different directions. Um, so it's very cool. Uh, I've had a couple shows recently I guess I should say my last couple of shows, because I had a little bit of a break there. I think I, did all the talking, but I really do like the interactive conversation. And oh, for me, well, yeah, are you in California, Johnny O, or Oregon? I thought you were in California, but maybe that's just um, maybe I'm making things up in my mind. Yeah, that's a hard one, Elizabeth, to get rid of one, because well, I mean, one, if I've truly read and studied it, and I might have marked it all up, um, then I want that, right? Because I had valuable things, or I saw valuable things in there that I want to keep, want to have access to. And then for those that I never truly finished, that I just that I read part of. Um, sorry, Robert. Um, oh, you saying that? See, and don't say the Y word, because that'll make me do it again. Um, What was I going to say? Oh, I lost my train of thought. Makes me feel like I need to do my eye trick because it's just that moment. But I'll reframe. Oh, what was I saying? I don't know. I will say red pill if you watch this.
Impeachment is a scam.
Impeachment is a bunch of bull.
Okay, sorry. I didn't intend that. Yeah, red pill if you watch this. Check your DMs. Please. Yeah, so fun stuff. Yeah, so we've got let's see. So Elizabeth, you're probably the only one that's probably insanely late, huh? We're all sitting here acting like we've got all night, and you're like, wow. Johnny, are you northern or southern or what? What I'm looking for is, are you warm or are you dealing with the cooler weather? Because we haven't had snow yet. It's been threatened, but boy, it's been just like kind of bone chilling cold. Crescent City. I don't know where that is. Gonna have to look that up. So I know that Robert has. That's okay, Robert. It's my fault for for getting sidetracked. Okay, yeah. So I did get to about 4 years ago. I got to take the kids on a month-long road trip where we went down through Oregon. We did the what's the thing in Oregon? All I keep thinking is Crescent City now. Crater Lake. We did Crater Lake in Oregon. Then we went down and did the Redwoods. And then we did this little gardens thing. I don't remember what it was called. It was really cool. Where you just kind of walked around and there were different gardens designed with different themes. That was between the Redwoods and San Francisco. Then we were in San Francisco for a few days. That was before where they are now with their homeless population and the lack of cleanliness in the streets. And then we went down into Bakersfield. We stayed in Bakersfield. And that was really cool because I don't think it was prehistoric. I think it actually had the name Asian in it, like something Asian Gardens, but I'm not positive. But we went down. The cool thing about Bakersfield was, we were in city and stuff like that, and you're driving and things start to go farmland and out in the country. And then driving through the farmland there, it was so cool because as we're driving, we got hit with these different smells. So like you could smell, like all of a sudden it's like, ooh, the van just filled with the smell of garlic, which I love, near and dear to my heart. So, okay. So there was garlic, and there was, I think maybe there was even peppers, which I also love. And oh, there was some other thing, but it was so cool because it'd be like, oh, you smell that garlic, right? And then, a minute later, and you're getting hit with this different smell, and it was really cool. Um, and then we went uh, to some beach. It was a well-known beach. I wanted to take them to a real beach because in Washington, um, I'm in Washington State, Johnny. Um, I don't believe they have real beaches in Washington, that we have real beaches in Washington. You can drive on our beaches, and I think that if you can drive on a beach, it's not a real beach. I spent 4 years in Hawaii when I was a kid, and so those are the beaches that I kind of grew up with, for lack of a better term. And so, um, driving on a beach is not normal. um, so I wanted my kids to experience that. Of course, one of my daughters broke her foot right before, like 10 days before we left. So she was in a walking cast the entire time. So that was a little bit miserable. Um, Not that she wanted to go into the water, because she is convinced that anyone who goes into the ocean um, will be eaten by sharks. She's just convinced of that. And I cannot seem to get her past that there are lots of people that go into the ocean and that come out just fine. But um, kimchi, that's funny. Um, you know, I, I mean, I love Hawaii because the minute you step off of the plane in Hawaii, there's this amazing smell. And yes, yes, there's the whole floral thing, but it's just, I don't know how, but warm smells. Like there's the smell of warmth. I don't even know. I just love it. It's like my entire body, because I've gone back to Hawaii since I was a kid, but my entire body just relaxes when you get off the plane. It's like warm, cozy, everything, even the smell. Ah, so anyway, we went through LA. And we went to the Grand Canyon. Then we went through, so we were Arizona, New Mexico. I have family that lives in New Mexico and Texas, so we stopped to see some family there, and then went into Texas and stopped and saw family. Then went more families. We went to Austin, just north of Austin, and saw some family. Went to San Antonio and did the river walk and the remember the Alamo. We did the Alamo. Um, Texas is great because they have waffle makers that make waffles in the shape of Texas, because uh, you know Texas is very proud state. Um, oh, I don't know, but I have lived in Alaska, so um, I did spend some time there, and I have gone back and visited. I was young there as well, so I don't remember a lot from when I was a baby there. We left when I was 4, but I did get to go back as an adult, and I got to drive it, and just loved it. So we went to the Carlsbad Caverns in New Mexico. We went to San Pedro Island so I got to play in the Gulf down the southern tip of Texas. That is some of the best water. I mean, that's some good stuff. Just saying. Um, we got to spend 4th of July in Texas, which is we have a very serious tradition around here about doing 4th of July here because I love fireworks, and so we've always had a 4th of July party here. Um, it was the one year that we were not here, and so we went and spent it at a girlfriend's house who lives in Texas as well. So I have family and friends who live in Texas, and we started the morning by going to a shooting range, and it was awesome. Um, the girls did um, the archery range, and the guys did. I went in with the guys for a little bit. Um, did the gun range and got to shoot some really fun stuff too. Um, so that's how we started our 4th of July morning. It was awesome. Um, and then, so let's see. So then, let's see. What else did we do? Went back through Texas and part of New Mexico, visited more family there, Carlsbad area, and then was headed north and got to go to the Arches. And my daughter, my awesome daughter, who was wearing the boot for that whole trip. If you've ever been to the Arches, there's a lot of walking. There's a lot of steep stuff. There's some just not fun if you're wearing a boot. Besides the fact that it's hotter than snot, right? And this was in June and July. So when we went to the Arches, that would have been in July. Um, and this guy, I don't know what nation he was from, some European nation, stopped us and, in kind of his broken English, told my daughter how, how much he admired her and how proud he was of her for doing, because those of us who weren't in a walking boot were like, walking up this steep thing. And so he stopped her and he just said, "Hey, you're amazing. It's quite the accomplishment," kind of thing. And that was really neat. That was really sweet of him. Um, but yeah, she just uh, trooper galore, that girl. Um, so yeah, we went there, and then we went up through Salt Lake City, and so I drove pretty much, well, almost all. I mean, about 10 days in the middle. Um, my husband was with us, and he did a lot of the driving because he knew I had been doing a lot of driving and was going to be doing a lot more of the driving, because that's before I had any other drivers in my home. And so, um, and by that point, it was just the girls and I, because my son, I dropped him off at my sister's house, and he flew home later. Um, but so the girls and I did Carlsbad Caverns, and my daughter did that in a boot as well. Carlsbad Caverns and the Arches, and then we went to Salt Lake City. And I tell you what, life on the road, I could so do that. I did not want to come home, honestly. I was like, I could keep on doing this, just exploring, seeing everything. I've said this before, but I am one of those people who loves all landscapes. I mean, I can be in the flattest of deserts where you can, see forever and not see anything. And a lot of people think that that's really boring, but I am so fascinated by that because you can see forever. And I think that's awesome. Um, and the skies are beautiful, especially when they are stormy skies, and the kinds of lightning storms and storms that they have down there. I mean, it's just powerful and amazing and beautiful. Um, so anyway, love the oranges and browns and the plateaus, the plains, I should say. Um, the reds, I love the greens, the mountains, all that stuff. Oh, I love road trips. Love. I mean, we usually don't take big trips. We can't really afford to take a bunch of big trips, but that was one that we had decided to do, and it was awesome. And I could totally um, do that all the time. Um, so anyway, I think actually what happened is God knew that I did not want to go home, and just because I didn't want the trip to end. um, and so Salt Lake City, I woke up that morning and I felt a little off, and so we started taking off for the day, and that was a 9 or 10 hour scheduled driving day, because we were going to get home. By the time we got home, I think we were going to be home for one night, and then we had to leave again for the weekend for my daughter's swim meet, that was on the other side of the state. And so we were going to be on another little trip. So I didn't really have any wiggle room. Um, and I ended up developing this massive fever, um, that that while I was driving, that I had to kind of pull over, take some Tylenol, and have the girls play at a park for like an hour, just to let me sleep and hopefully break the fever a little bit, so I could drive the rest of the way to the next hotel. Um, and then we got to that hotel, and I just completely passed out until the next morning, and then made it home. That was so that I think that was God's way of helping me want to be home, right? Like, I was so sick that at that point I just wanted to be home and I didn't want to be driving. So anyway, um, huh, that's interesting, Johnny, that you had a depression um, with that adjustment. But sorry, um, congratulations on your retirement. Congratulations on the vlogging that you're doing now, because that is cool. And the fact that that kind of gave you a new, I don't know if I'll say purpose, but a new focus. Um, my parents just retired last year, and for them, like my dad, was it for the first 3 or 6 months or something like that, he just nothing, nothing. But they always ran hard, so they worked full time, and they were extremely involved in their church, and so it was like 5 nights a week probably they were going, and they were doing something else too. So they'd go to work all day and then do something else, probably 5 evenings a week. And so when he retired, he was like just done, for a while. Um, they haven't shown um, any regret. They've adjusted pretty well. But ooh, an evidence tech, Johnny. So that means that you were logging in evidence. Were you testing evidence? Um, you were logging in, tracking. Um, is that right? That's kind of cool. Okay, most farmers don't retire, but I have a whole family of farmers: dairy farmers, beef farming, fork. Oh, okay, cork, um, chickens, maple syrup, and vegetable. Maple syrup. That's awesome. And wow, um, with that variety of farmers in your family, holy moly, you guys are set, aren't you? I mean, do you just kind of exchange and everybody takes care of everything? Um, Very cool, Elizabeth. My son wants to be a. Okay, I always do this, which is so stupid. It's not a park ranger. It's a forest ranger. Oh my gosh. I think you guys know what I'm saying. But anyway. Oh, pork. Okay. I was like, cork. Well, that's cool. I've never heard of that. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Um, Crime scene murders, 1144s. What are 1144s? Because that's not murder, right? Because I thought one isn't 167? 116. Oh my goodness. Okay. I actually used to know this. Wow. Maybe it is just really late for me. The first real maple syrup that we got. Oh, 1144 death cases. Wow, Johnny. Um, wow. Was that in Northern California where you served, or was that somewhere else that had a higher, or was it just that you served for a long time and just racked up a lot? That is a lot. Um, oh, as far as maple syrup, yeah, I had never actually had real maple syrup until. Okay, I'm slaughtering what you're saying then, Johnny. I apologize. Um, until we went to Canada this last spring, and we went to Victoria. It was fun, amazing trip. I had been a few times when I was a teen. We used to go with our youth group. Um, that was something I'd always wanted to. Yeah, I wanted my kids to have that experience. And my kids are getting to the point where we won't be having family experiences for much longer. So we went up to Victoria for a few days. Um, and I got to have tea at the Empress Hotel, which I had not been able to do that. My daughter and I did that. And it was amazing. It was, it was one of those experiences, right? Exposure to um, different different kinds of situations. It was awesome. Fun. Oh, it's the code for death cases. Okay. Sorry, Johnny. Like I said, I'm just slaughtering everything that you're saying. So, well, you know what, Johnny? It's good. Um, it's great that you miss the people in the sense that that means that you had good people that you were working with. And that makes all the difference in a job. I firmly believe that who you work with makes all the difference. Very cool. Robert. Scared to think if there was a problem with shipping, I wouldn't get the important things like maple syrup. That's funny. That's too funny. Ah, well, cool. Okay, I am gonna yawn again. Oh, so sorry. Spam.
People in Hawaii use spam like it's nobody's business. Um, that stuff is well prepared, if that's the right way to say it. Yes. Good night, Johnny O. Thank you for coming. Thank you for adding to our conversation this evening. Appreciate it. Yes. And check out Johnny O's channel. My ability to speak is greatly diminishing. Well, and Elizabeth's. Yes, and me as well. So I will say goodnight. Boy, almost 2 hours, and that I really was not planning on that. So it's all because of the conversation that you guys brought to the video. So anyway, love you guys. Thank you so much. Sleep well. I will chat with you later.